Morgan.
Hey guys, Kiwi here. In this video, I'm excited to bring you guys a brand new sneak peek for the mid-season finale of The Walking Dead. Let's go through this promo and break it down, so spoilers for anything up to Season 7, Episode 8. Now, we originally got a few short teaser clips in previous trailers regarding this scene, and I will actually get back to that later, but right now we've got a full brand new sneak peek of it. So it starts out showing Carol reading a book alone in her new cozy little home. She gets up and looks through her front window, noticing supplies on her front door left by Morgan, who has wandered off towards the graveyard. After some consideration, Carol opens the door to her house and calls over Morgan, to his surprise. He brings in the sack of supplies, listing off the fresh fruit and such that he brought over. Now, he doesn't want to impose on her, acting as if she can't fend for herself, but he felt like she'd enjoy some freshly grown product as a treat. Carol tells him that she's good on fruit, and although Morgan insists on her not having access to it, she opens her bedroom door, showing that she already has bowls on bowls of it lined up on the shelf behind her from King Ezekiel.
You can fend for yourself, I know, but fresh produce isn't something you can just...
Really? I'm good.
Morgan laughs this off, putting two and two together, realizing that he's also been visiting her as well. Carol tells him that people apparently don't understand the concept of her wanting to be left alone, implying that she's getting annoyed of visitors. Morgan reads this loud and clear, mentioning how he intended to give her all the space she wants, as he wouldn't have gone inside without her inviting him in. Speaking of which, Morgan asks her why she did. She responds by asking him how he is, implying that she still cares about him, but once she gets a generic answer, she somewhat tries rushing him out the door.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Now you can go.
I think you're going soft.
I think you're going.
Just as he opens it, Carol is surprised by yet another unexpected visitor. This time, it's actually Richard bringing more supplies to her, telling them that they need to talk. He tells Morgan that he didn't know that he'd be there, but it's convenient as he wants to talk to both of them. This concludes the sneak peek, giving us a few answers along with many questions. So let's start with the answers, bringing back what I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Over the past 2 weeks or so, we've been getting clips of this conversation in various trailers between the three of them. First off, we saw Carol opening her door with someone greeting her. Now we know that that's obviously Morgan, followed by Richard soon after. We also get hints that Ezekiel has continued visiting Carol, further connecting the two of them, I assume, as he makes an effort to come see her. It's a popular fan theory that Carol and Ezekiel will eventually develop a relationship, and although I'd like to save that for an entirely separate video after the mid-season finale airs, I'd just like to say that they've been setting up ever since the initial scene that first introduced Ezekiel himself. Now, during the Next on AMC preview for the mid-season finale,
on the next episode of AMC's The Walking Dead,
we can see multiple clips from Carol, Morgan, and Richard, as well as hear more dialogue from Richard as he starts speaking to them. Richard has been very defiant of the Saviors throughout the entirety of 702, and we see it continue here. For those who may need a refresher, in 702 we see Richard's secret payback against the Saviors. So first off, we find out that the Kingdom has been breeding livestock, giving them fresh meat to the Saviors as payment of service. The thing is though, the pigs that they have been specifically breeding for the Saviors have in fact been fed walkers as food and nothing else. I'm unsure exactly as how this may affect them, if it would actually poison them, or if it's just a simple fuck you to them in secrecy. Second off, don't forget the altercation between Richard and that asshole Savior during the meeting with them. Richard obviously wins the fight, but is commanded to let them go. Finally, the Saviors then threaten Ezekiel with Richard's life as they drive off as well. In the trailer, Richard's full quote repeats as follows: "I know what the Saviors are, and I know what they do. They cannot be trusted. We don't do something now, things will go bad, and when they do, we'll lose everything." Morgan questions Richard, saying, "What exactly are you asking?" But I'm pretty sure we all know that by the look on his face and the tone of his voice that he wants to revolt in some form. I have honestly been awaiting an answer to the inner conflict within the Kingdom for a while now, and I'm glad that we get to see it finally flesh out a bit. Now in 702 we learned that King Ezekiel has actually been keeping the Saviors a secret from the rest of the Kingdom, using the outside meeting spot to his advantage. Ezekiel does this because he knows that Richard is right, and that the people of the Kingdom would want to fight back. I assume Richard is telling Morgan and Carol that they need to fight back and that he wants their help. He says that they need to do something before they lose everything, because the Saviors cannot be trusted.
I know what the Saviors are, and I know what they do. They cannot be trusted. If we don't do something now, things will go bad, and when they do, we'll lose everything.
Carol and Morgan both have their own reasons as to how they'd be useful in this situation, but they also have their own separate reasons as to why they wouldn't want to get involved with an altercation. Now, I'm sure that Carol could be a completely ruthless killer and a valuable asset on the front lines, but she's done with all that, especially since Season 6B, after her and Maggie murdered everyone in the warehouse that they were being kept hostage. I know Morgan has been contemplating whether fighting them is the right thing to do or not, as he mentions it to Ezekiel and Benjamin in 702. I assume that we all know about Morgan's beliefs and how it originated and has changed throughout the past season or so, but if not, feel free to check out a video I posted just after 702 explaining it in further detail. Since Morgan has been living at the kingdom along with contributing to the community, I assume that he would be more likely to assist Richard or Ezekiel than Carol, considering that she's kind of gone half crazy and has also given up on groups and just wants to be left alone. I wonder if Richard has any clue about Alexandria or the hilltop in the situation between them and the Saviors. Is it possible that he could have overheard something from the Saviors, maybe paraphrasing something, to make Morgan and Carol clue into the fact that Alexandria is in some deep shit right now? They have both been disconnected from everything since the end of Season 6, so that's why I believe that unless they get caught up to speed, they won't want to help Richard. Hypothetically, if Richard, Ezekiel, and Morgan all came to the same general consensus, they could rally up troops with the kingdom to prepare to fight back to the Saviors. Now, if it somehow ends up going down like this, will Morgan mention Alexandria along with Rick? If he gives them this intel, they could eventually come to the conclusion that Morgan could actually go back to Alexandria and notify Rick of a possible alliance. Is it possible that this is the first of many things that triggers Rick to help him realize that they possibly have a standing chance? If he starts cluing in to the fact that there are 1 to 2, maybe even 3 more communities out there that could help him, then obviously the numbers of the Saviors don't seem so intimidating anymore. What do you guys think about all this? I personally loved episode 702 The Well, and I really enjoyed the Kingdom, along with Morgan in general. I was really hoping that they get more time this half season, but I assume that this is all leading up for their time to shine in Season 7B after the break. Thank you guys so much for watching, and feel free to hit like on the video if you've enjoyed it at all or agreed with anything I've said today. That's pretty much it though guys, I'll see you in the next video, peace out.